Aloha. It was wonderful meeting you. Tell you what, for this first exercise, the spider exercises, we don't necessarily need to be in tune, but it's always good to be in tune. I know that you got your thing going on. I just want to show a couple little things that I do, just in case you haven't stumbled upon those yet. They don't really show them in a book. So here we go. When we do these spider exercises, 1, 2, 3, 4, that next finger that we go to is called an extension. That's about as far as this whole hand grouping is going to go. Because we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 minor seconds until we get up to the octave note. That means that there's quite literally like 3 different places that we're going to be playing these 4 notes, and then 1 note if we want 4 notes at the 5, 6, 7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then the 9, 10, 11, 12. So you can fundamentally see how doing 5, 6, 7, 8 and then being able to go just to this one, and then when we go to this one, being able to go back one, covers everything we need to do on this fretboard. The fun thing that I'll show you right here is what we're going to be working on is like playing a C major with a C, open D, E, and F, open G, A, open B, and then a C to make the C major, utilizing our 3rd finger. Then we're going to play that same thing with the 2nd finger, but we're going to get rid of the 1st and the open frets, utilizing just the 3rd fret, the 5th fret now for the D, rather than the open note. Utilize the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, the 2nd, the 4th, and the 5th. So this same C major chord now has a different do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Same notes, different feeling ever so slightly with the vibration of those strings, because the things where you play the open D and then where you play the closed D is just ever so slightly thicker on that A string than it is on the open D. So when we go through this process of learning these 2 scales and then the 3rd one using the 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 4th fret, 5th fret, all those are the same notes. However, when we play them, this kind of scale can be moved all over the fretboard. So if we're in B flat, we absolutely can play a B flat scale without even having to know the names of the strings and the notes. They just come together that way because it's muscle memory. So spider exercises, they introduce the concept of doing down up on the right hand, the plucking hand. That's right, you're right-handed. And when we do it, we go all the way through this. Now, I'm doing this a little bit fast, but what I wanted to do is show you that when we go all the way through that, it helps the motion of going into a tempo. Boom, 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 boom. So most of the tempos, or the BPM, beats per minute, that I start off students with, regardless if you've been playing for 50 years or 2 days, is about at 40. This tempo seems so super slow, I can guarantee. But when you start doing these rhythm exercises like this, and then you move it up to 60 beats per minute, and then 80, and then 120, which is what standard rock and roll is at, you will definitely see how these different influences of the rhythm will help the right hand without even knowing that we're doing anything for it. So, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Try not to put the pick out pointy in the beginning. Let's keep it to the side where it's rounded. Helps us go in and out of this, and nice and loosey-goosey. We don't really want to be really tight on this thing. So when we do these 1, 2, 3, and then 4, this 4th one's going to seem a little hard. Feel free to lift up that 1st finger and rockabilly towards that 4th fret. That's totally acceptable. The one thing we're just wanting to stick away from is when you play a note and put another one down, that you don't stick your fingers all the way out. What this does is it puts a huge gap in between here, and it causes more time to be needed to put our fingers back for the next string, next note, next chord than it should naturally. So what we do is we try and keep those close to the fretboard. Okay, so when we get through these spider exercises and we get up playing all these notes, we want to make sure that we're not playing on the fretting or getting a buzz sound or getting a dull sound. Sometimes you'll get like a little buzzy sound. That just means go back inside the fret and make sure that you're pressing down nice and hard. 2 types of fret playing, bar chord, B-A-R-R-E, and then a pointy note, which is like an arrow going into a dartboard. What we're going to do is we're going to practice little things that stem out of that. So we'll have stuff like, which are a type of slide, and we'll get accustomed of where the 3rd fret is, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 5th fret, 3rd fret, 6th fret, 3rd fret, 7th fret, and get a feeling of where the fretboard is so we don't have to keep looking down, and it actually feels natural. Believe me, feels weird in the beginning, but once we do these 1, 2, 3, 4 and know that that finger goes out to the 5th fret, it's our extension, that note held down on the E string becomes the open string above the A. So what I do is I use that for fine tuning. Here I was a little flat. I do the same thing on the A string. So I play the B flat, the B, the C sharp, and then my extension for the D, and then that's my next note open. also a little flat. What I like to do is hold one note that I know is the D and then play the open note together and then cross my arm over and fine tune those till the frequencies come together. Yeah? Each one of these do this except for the G string. The G string has 4 notes. That goes to the B. So when you play the 4th on the G, it makes the B string open. And then we revert back to the 5th fret for that next open. That's just called fine tuning with the instrument. Helps us get nice and in tune. So between the spider exercises, doing those, I don't know, for 4 or 5 minutes, 10 minutes in the morning, that will definitely help. One of the other things I like to do is something called the teeter-totter. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the E major chord and the A major chord. The E major chord is made by taking our first finger and playing the 1st fret on the G string, okay? That G string is gonna be the 4th, I'm sorry, not the 4th, the 3rd string, because the high E right here, the higher frequency is going to be the 1 string, and the low E is going to be the 6th string. So that means 6, 5, 4, and then 3 is our G. First finger makes that G note a G sharp, and then our second finger goes to the 2nd fret onto the A string to make a B note. A sharp, or B flat, B. So between those 2 notes, we've got the 3rd, the major 3rd. If we had a minor 3rd, it would sound sad, but we want the happy one. And then we're gonna put our 2nd finger on the B, as I said, and then 3rd finger is gonna go right above it, playing the D string at the 2nd fret, giving us an E note. D, D sharp, or E flat, E. So when we play these 2 and open, we get an E minor, as you know, and then our G sharp makes it a major. So what I like to do is have us play the 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe like 3 or 4 times. Just get really super used to playing 4 strums. Sorry, 1 strum and then 4 ghost strums. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. When you get that rhythm and you got that going on, I would say switch your E major to your E major 2nd fingering. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take our 1st finger off the G sharp. We're gonna put our finger that's on the B onto the G sharp. Our finger that's on the E is gonna go to the B, and then our pinky is gonna come on the fretboard. Same notes, different fingerings. That way, when we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, we know how to play the E major. If we had 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, we would still know how to play the E major with our 2nd fingering. Here's the caveat. Move your fingering for the 2nd fingering position on the and of 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2. This going at 40 beats per minute and swinging your hand in a 4/4 motion will perfectly enforce being able to move your hand with 8 notes over the top of that, or half notes, or quarter notes, or 16 notes, as I just showed. So long story short, when we're doing this motion, remember to keep it slow in the beginning and then move on. The idea is when you incorporate just the E major and the E major, sure, you know the E major. But when you incorporate the A major, A major, A major, A major, dare I say even A major with the pinky, A major is made by playing an open A. You can even play the low E note because the E is in the key of A, B, C sharp, D, E, it's its 5th. But it takes over the whole chord if you play that low note. So what I like to do is kind of attack my strings at the 5th string and get that low A string. And then I've got a barred E, A, and a C sharp, then an open E on top. Meaning, I'm taking what most people do, where they take their 3 fingers and put them down like this, and getting rid of all that confusion using 1 finger to bar all 3 of those. I know it's weird. However, on an ukulele, you do this already for a D. I think you said you play a ook. If not, we'll go over that too. You'd love to see the ook on the D. The reason being, this keeps that top string open and able to be ringing out nice and clear. Very, very, very legato. So our A major could be played by holding down those 3 notes. And what happens is when we do our E, and then we do our rhythm exercise, and we're moving between the 2, we get accustomed to playing with the secondary fingering. Reason why is I want you to be able to scoot that up and play your bar chords So you can play an F major, F sharp major, G major. Heck, we might even take the concept of a G major that you already know, and maybe this G major here, by moving down our 1 down to an F sharp, we would get our G, our B, and then an F sharp gives us our G major 7, which is a beautiful chord. I think it's a little open. So if we know how to play the G major here, and we know how to move this note down and play the same one, we can get the same chords with different thickness of the strings to buzz, which gives slightly different feeling for that chord. Not different chords that you hear, but slightly the way that you feel and play. And also it helps with positioning, knowing you can do like it puts your fingers in the right position to be able to melodically move around the fretboard, utilizing spider exercise, half-step diatonic scales, and then our full scales that we manipulate to get another major sort of feel. So what we do is we express vocabulary to know what we're both saying to each other. 2, we express what technique is, starting off slow so things make sense in the beginning. And then 3, we actually put these all together while I play underneath you and you demonstrate that you have a clear understanding of what we've gone over. Thusly, you will be able to teach this to someone else and be able to incorporate it into your own music. I really am looking forward to playing some cover songs with you too. It's a great way to get to know what type of music you like, and a great way, it's a great teaching tool and asset for me as well to write up a little syllabus. So from this, why don't you send me a couple bands that you like or a couple songs you've been wanting to learn? And then, not like your Holland opuses, but just something that you enjoy. What I like to do is take little bits and pieces from classical music, Bach, Beethoven, to be able to show different types of movements like canon. Get those fingers to move together while you're moving down and up and down the fretboard while showing the full chords. And then be able to go through a process of showing you melodies over the top of these. I would really like to be able to write things down for you, but I send these video explanations instead. If you'd like to write them down and take notes on that, awesome. If not, we're going to keep doing the same stuff until we show a clear understanding and then move on. And then I have a tendency to jump back on that just so we can incorporate it into our new things. Anywho, try these spider exercises. When we get all the way through these spider exercises, they of course will change. Sometimes we'll do like a downward spider exercise. This helps us to feel the frets in a different way. And then we might incorporate that with some sort of rhythmic tool so we can see how these scales work once we start building do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, these major movements. Okie doke. It was very nice meeting you. Very much looking forward to next week. And if you have any questions, throw them in the comment section or give me an email. Aloha.